Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Gotta keep the bucket hat. Let's
All
see.
right.
Let's see.
Starting now. Trying
All
anyways.
right.
Thinking about it.
Okay.
It's thinking.
Oh, mine says that we're live.
All right. Mine's still spinning.
Scott, you got that crisp Washington internet.
Man, it's the Starlink.
Oh,
It's,
Starlink's supposed to be phenomenal. I have the
yeah.
new woman at the new one at my job is like, I love Starlink. It's I got the fastest internet. And I'm like, screw you, lady. I got Cox.
Like 250 megs from the satellite dish.
Oh, nice.
I just have no idea if we're actually live or not.
Oh, mine is saying that we're live. We've been live for about a minute.
Oh man, see, so this is just solid content, is what you're saying.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
All right, now it says I'm live. Yeah, for about a minute, it finally linked in. Hello, internet. Yelling and screaming. This is just before NFL Week 1. I think this is show number 3, Sean.
This is show number 3.
So we did some experimenting. We did some trying stuff out. I'm glad we tried this format because I think this is going to work for us better than the face-to-face turn toward each other away from the camera option.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, just being able to look directly into the camera, give direct feedback, have that interaction is gonna be way better like this than it was when we sat side by side. That felt so awkward. We're just like, hi, let me stare at you, kind of, sort of sideways.
It very much had a like public access TV kind of vibe to it, which I kind of did, but not for this.
It was giving Post Malone's first song.
Oh,
that's how I felt. I felt as if it was Post Malone's first song. It's terrible, but it needed to happen for us to actually figure out what felt better. And we did that one time. I was also hella sober when that happened. Never again.
It's a big mistake. Well, you got another day here, right?
Damn right.
All right. Well, hey, NFL Week 1 is right on the horizon. We're finally done with preseason. I could not be more excited. The college football has kind of wet my palate, and I'm ready.
Yeah. Watch that game last night?
Which one are you talking about? The one that I lost a Malort bet on?
Yeah. So for context, our social group, our group of friends, we are very, very much into sports, really big into sports betting, but it's just like random ass sports bets. And what was it? Was it Moneyline? The
North Dakota State University to beat the Fighting Dions, and
behave.
Lost that bet.
Colorado Buffaloes. All right, Coach Prime. You got a couple of good guys there. Shadur Sanders, who threw a good game last night. Don't lie. He threw a good game last night.
He threw a bunch of balls.
Are you talking about the pick that went off a guy's leg, or are you talking about
about all the bad underthrown balls that? Oh God, people think this guy's an NFL quarterback, and I'm just.
I didn't say that. I didn't say he was an NFL quarterback. I'm not going to toot that horn, but I will give him a lot more credit than you might want to give him, Rick, because honestly, he didn't have a bad game. The defense is not good. The defense is not good.
Yeah. I wish. All right, I'll set aside my hate for Shadur Sanders. Hunter is a stud.
Oh, he's an absolute animal.
He should be the Heisman.
I think if he stays healthy, and if I think the team is over 500, he has the best shot of winning a Heisman. If Jaden Daniels can win in a 7-5 team,
that's true.
And Travis Hunter is a two-way monster, like he should be winning a Heisman.
The one thing I keep seeing with Colorado, though, is I wish they had a coach who knew defensive secondary. I think that would go a long way toward helping their defense not suck. I don't know who that guy would be. Maybe get like an ex-NFL star, like maybe like a premier defensive back, somebody who could coach these kids up to be good corners and safeties. I don't know where you'd find a coach like that, but that's what they need. That defense sucks.
Well, my question is this: is it coaching or is it defensive talent? We're still talking about Colorado here now. I know you want to put them in that upper level echelon because Prime's there, because they brought some guys and they have all this hype around the team.
I do not.
Let me because they have a lot of hype around this team. There's higher expectations than what they've had in very, very many previous years. I mean, they won more games last year than they won.
Like, where are these expectations? This is an NFL podcast, by the way.
The money. The money. Hey, it's the football podcast, baby. We primarily do NFL, but we're going to touch a couple tangents.
Those Jackson State teams were not good. They were good for an
they're good for
HBCU
the
division.
Well, yeah. You got to work your way up. Again, that's an expectation you just said, right? The Jackson State teams were good in comparison to they're good teams in comparison to their competition.
Correct. Never won a bowl game. So this year at Colorado, with all the kids that Dion kicked off the team and then brought with him from Jackson State, like this is essentially his fourth year of recruiting his own system into Colorado because of all the. I mean, they had 63 new players this year. I mean, this is Prime's team. So to see the defense in disarray from what should be a defensive-minded coach, that's concerning, right? Because North Dakota State's a good team, but they're still an FCS team.
They are, but they're like the best FCS team of all time.
They went 7-4 last year.
You're not wrong. They did go 7-4, but let's look at their last 5, let's say 10 years or so. Yeah, they're the only FCS team to ever be ranked lower than 34. Period. And they have actually had I would say them and Villanova are the only two FCS teams that I would even put in a conversation as to having a competition. For the last 5 to 10 years. In the last 5 to 10 years, look at who's won in the FCS, and it was North Dakota State and Villanova. Those are the two teams. Yeah,
I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Dakotas and Montana. Montana won last year.
Montana did win last year. That's true. Montana's been a solid team, but like Villanova has been a very good FCS team, and North Dakota State in the last 10 years.
I'll take your word for it.
Over the last 10 years is what I'm saying. I'm not saying just the last 2 or 3, but the last 10 years that's what I've seen from the FCS. So I'm not saying all I'm saying is Colorado has some talent, and I feel like they're going to continue to be better as a program. I think that there's so much emphasis on winning right now from everybody that's watching Colorado, just because the hype around it, that the criticisms are just going to keep coming, and it's well warranted, because if you put yourself on that stage, you open yourself up to criticism. I had a conversation with one of our friends yesterday, and they said, if you are a professional athlete or if you are someone whose job is televised, you can't complain about getting booed. He said, you open yourself up to criticism. Guess what? Your job review is every time you step out on that field or that court. It's very loud. It's very easy to hear when you're doing a good job and when you're not. So you're getting paid money. Those players are getting paid money. Those coaches are getting paid money. I don't want to hear shit. All right, you are open to criticism. I don't like the fact that Colorado shut down that the one journalist. I'm not sure if you heard about that story. Yeah, they literally just said, we're not going to take questions from this particular guy. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, what happened to actually facing like criticism? You can't just say like personal attacks. Really, was it really personal attacks, or did you just get upset about the fact that he asked you a tough question you didn't want to answer?
When you had I can't do this. We have to get to NFL.
All right.
All right, I'll bite. Shedeur Sanders' best NFL season will be Tony Romo's worst NFL season.
I mean, Tony Romo was terrible as a playoff player, but a regular season, he was a pretty decent quarterback. I don't know. That's him and Phillip Rivers are the same guy.
Oh God, yeah. Phillip Rivers has way more kids.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. There's guys who have solid regular seasons.
Yes,
Tony Romo's one of those guys.
Maybe if we'll do like a one-off college facing thing, because I do want to get into this with you, because I think there's a lot to talk about with Colorado. But
last thing I'm going to say, if Shedeur Sanders, his best season is Tony Romo's worst season, that could make him good enough to be a commentator. Maybe that makes him good enough to be a commentator.
I had another comment. We're going to let it go.
You're going to say he doesn't have the football IQ for that, or something to the latter.
Yeah, the way he reads defenses,
Well, he's got a few years to figure it out. Hopefully, he learns how to read defenses on the field the way his dad read offenses on the field. Fingers crossed. Anyway,
NFL Week 1. Is there anything from the preseason that you wanted to kind of hit before we launch into Week 1?
Yeah, a couple of things from some of the games that we watched. Some of the games that popped up. Obviously, yeah, like it's super weird because obviously the earlier games in preseason, it's mostly third, fourth string guys, backup guys. Game three in preseason is kind of funny because some teams are resting their guys, so you get their backups, and some teams are starting their guys to get them ready for the regular season. So you get like this weird kind of like some of the games are very lopsided. What I do want to say is Russ starting in Steelers Lions. Russ got the starting position. Again, I'm just curious to see how they use Fields in that system. I think that having both of those guys gives you a lot more options than other teams do. And to have a guy who was a starter, who's now your backup quarterback, but still has a lot more explosiveness than pretty much any other backup that's in the league right now. With He's got more explosiveness than your starter. Your starter's just got a lot more pedigree and a lot more. He's got technically a better football mind than your backup guy. It'll be curious to see how they use them in that system. Giants QB situation is the worst QB situation in the NFC East, if not the NFC period. I don't believe in anybody in that backfield, and losing a perennial backfield guy in Saquon Barkley does not bode well for the Giants in that division. I might have the Giants fourth in that division because I'll put the ball in Jaden Daniels' hands and just let him show me his athleticism. I would rather do that than I would give the ball to any of the guys in the Giants backfield. Jets D line looked really, really good this game. I know that they're excited about having their defense healthy, about having a healthy offense. So it'll be great to see how that team works out. Love the backfield. They got some good receivers there. It's funny because the Jets are one of those teams when healthy, they could be a team that's a playoff caliber team, but they just can't stay healthy. And they haven't executed in the past. So it'll be interesting to see how their season plans out. The Bears play calls look great. They just look exciting to watch. It looks like that they're really getting a good integration of Caleb and those other guys in that system. So I'm excited to see how they work out in the NFC. Derrick Henry, watching him, getting a chance to watch him for the Ravens. I think that offense could be real potent. So we'll see how that works out. Packers are going to be a fun team to watch. A real young team, and it'll be exciting to see how they pan out. Chargers, you know, it's they're just such a mediocre team. I hope that Harbaugh can actually put some things together and get them to execute because they've had good players. They just haven't been a good execution team. They've made bad calls in tough situations, and so seeing that, hopefully he cleans that up. Good, because the Chargers are a team where if they execute, they're a playoff caliber team. They don't execute, they stay mid as they've been in the last, for the last decade or
Well,
so.
and the Harbaugh has experience making bad teams gel well. Those
Mhm.
49ers teams weren't especially loaded with talent. He really got the most out of those guys. The
Yeah,
Chargers maybe aren't as good as those 49ers teams were. You certainly have
definitely
a
they're not. They're
better
not.
quarterback, but you don't have any
Mhm.
of the skill players to
Yeah.
fill roles. So it'll
Well,
be
they
interesting to
they
see what he
fire
can
sale.
do.
They fire sailed their offense. So
Letting Eckler go was a choice. So we'll
fair
see.
enough.
We'll see how their
And
running back
Keenan
situation looks. But
and Keenan Allen.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, and who's the other receiver there that's also gone? Um, there's another receiver there that was also gone too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
The axe, the outside guy.
so it's just that offense is going to be fully revamped. And with Herbert, they really need Herbert. So it'll be tough if he can't stay healthy.
Yep.
It'll be a much tougher season. But again, coming off a national championship, and watching the way that he was able to get Michigan, to be that powerhouse. He can do, watching the way he worked in San Fran. It'll be interesting to see how the season works out for the Chargers. The Titans and the Saints game. I mean, it was really anything for me to really stare at. I mean, I guess the Titans are confident that Levis is going to be their guy, and we'll see how the season plays out. But I mean, it was an okay game. That's kind of what I have for most of this the preseason. I'm just excited that we're going to get into some games that actually have some weight to them.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I
I'm
guess
ready.
Are you excited about the Brazil game?
I am. Let's start with the slate, and
Okay.
I have some really interesting thoughts on that Brazil game. I know you're an Eagles guy.
Okay.
Little foreshadowing, but let's start Ravens Chiefs Thursday night football
Ravens
NFL
Chiefs.
kickoff. That game, I'll give it to you right now. Derrick Henry, 2 rushing touchdowns.
I can see that. I can see that. I feel like they're going to be Baltimore's going to come out loose. I think that Lamar obviously, he spreads the field. He gives you a lot of good looks, and Derrick Henry is just such a force that it doesn't matter what your defensive line is lined up in. If you're blitzing or whatever the case is, there's a chance that this dude's going to give you 4, 5, 6 yards run, like bumbling. It doesn't matter.
So
So
it's huge. Like you can't stop him.
he's a
Chiefs,
1, 2, 3, 4 down back.
yeah.
They don't make them like that very much anymore.
Chiefs a 3-point favorite at home. I'd probably just lay the points with the Chiefs. They win this game. They'll probably cover 3 is not a huge number for them. This is kind of a new look Chiefs offense. They kind of
Every year
cycle.
it's new look.
Yeah, they cycle role players in and out, but essentially it's the exact same offense. You have the exact same quarterback running it. I'm not really concerned about anything. Chiefs, they're going to be there at the end of the year. I think they win this game.
Mm-hmm. Their division hasn't done enough to really make me seem like they won't
What?
be the lead in it.
Bo Nix.
Realistically,
Bo Nix.
oh my God! Look. If I decided to put any stock in a guy that got drafted by the Broncos in my lifetime, you might as well just take me out back and shoot me. All right, and this is not a bias as a Raiders fan, but watching after Peyton Manning, every single Broncos quarterback. We're talking about Trevor Siemian. We're talking about Brock Osweiler. We're talking about just the plethora of guys that just ran through that backfield. I mean, the best thing that the Broncos have done since Peyton Manning was have Tim Tebow throw a jump pass. That's it. Like it really has not been it really hasn't been that great to watch. And on top of that, the injuries that they've had over the past few years, it's like they're not. I don't see them being this. I don't see Bo Nix revolutionizing that team. I just don't see it. Sean Payton, like, good luck. But I mean, I don't. It's not like Bo Nix is the same model that Peyton's had in the past with the Saints. He's a very different guy in that system, and I just don't see that they're gonna make any noise in that division. I have them as the 4 in that division because I'm a Raiders fan. That's a bias. That one right there is a bias for me. I hope that my Raiders are going to have a better season than the Broncos in that division. I expect the Chargers will, and I know that the Chiefs will.
I'm more worried about the Chargers than the Raiders.
Interesting. I mean, I'm always worried about the Raiders.
Fair.
I expected the Chargers. So here's my thing. My line is that the Chargers will win 7 games. The problem is that I don't know if I can rely on the Raiders to win 7 games.
I'd have to take a deep dive of the schedule. Maybe we should probably do like a favorite team breakdown episode. Like you take the Raiders, I'll take the Saints. We'll just look at them.
I like it. We can do that.
Friday night football.
From
Brazil.
Football,
Packers, Eagles.
Oh, and they chose 2 green teams. Great.
It's at 2.5 right now. Eagles. I am really, really concerned about the Eagles. Losing your center up front and feeling the need to bring in a second-tier wide receiver at the last minute to bolster your wide receiver room. There's something going on in Philly. I am very concerned. I am taking the Packers outright in this game, but I'm worried about the Eagles for the season.
Fair enough. So I actually feel the exact opposite about that. I like the move to get Dotson. I think it's an easy fleece from your own division. They got him for 3 pennies, so like it's not anything that would be an issue for me. And then looking at the Eagles over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years, they're actually one of the teams in the NFL who have played pretty well in international games. They play more. They're one of the teams who've had a higher slate of international games in recent years. So I don't see them having very much issue playing in Brazil. I take the Eagles in this game, but I think that they've chosen to make some really, really strong moves on their offensive end, given the way that their season ended last year and how dominant they were offensively in the previous season. And if you look back at the last 2 to 3 centers that the Eagles have had, those guys have been around consistently. They've had some really, really good guys in the middle. And so they lose that guy, but the offensive scheme doesn't change. And even though and you don't, obviously you're not plugging in an NFL top 75 guy into that position and it's just going to flow exactly the same. But I feel like because the scheme is the same, I feel like you're able to plug in because Jason Kelce was phenomenal. But the thing that he did the best that people didn't realize, or maybe they did, I'm not sure if you actually followed the Eagles, is that he was a monster when it came to the pool. Like that guy was picking up on a pool anybody who was in that way. And it was all, and not only was it anybody, it was always the guy who had the best chance of making the tackle. He always had an eye for getting the guy who was that next man up, the first, so that your guy could get through that line. So obviously, like that's going to be something that you need to make sure that you cover. But I think the scheme stays the same. I think that they may have figured out what happened at the end of last season, and I think that bringing in Saquon, who's bona fide running back, and not having to go running back by committee, and I think going with picking up Dotson to bolster that offense is going to give them some more weapons to just kind of to be able to continue to build the offense with the way that they were 2 years ago. I don't want to say late last season. Late last season just wasn't a good representation of how good that team can be.
I just don't know if Jurgens is the guy, man. Like you're trying to replace a legend, right? And this is a kid who was a tight end, and like he played for those really bad Nebraska teams. Like I'm concerned up the middle. I don't know if they can't run the ball consistently. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing against those defenses.
Do they spend more time working up the middle, or do they work the edges a little more? If he's gonna have to, because like I said, pulling was Kelsey's bread and butter. I mean, honestly, he's an absolute monster in the middle, but pulling was his bread and butter. Tight ends got should have a good footwork to be able to get out and pull in that regard. Maybe he's quick to the spot. Maybe he's got a good eye. Something that they saw that said, hey, this guy should be the guy that replaces, again, an absolute legend on the offensive line. And then, they still have a lot of other guys on that offensive line that have played seasons that are very well seasoned. And so I feel like if they feel like that guy can plug in and make and fill in the shoes, I'm not saying be the same guy, but fill in the shoes. They got to go with it.
Packers defense is kind of soft, so we should get a pretty good look at what the Eagles want to do from a scheme standpoint.
I'm going 3 wide and spreading that defense out. And then I'm going to get Saquon a couple of rushes. I'm going to put him off the left side because I feel like the Eagles' strength is off the left side. And then I'm going to see how those corners are moving. But, you still have 2,000-yard receivers on that team. So, yes, I am giving Devontae Smith a 1,000-yard season.
That's fair. All right, Steelers-Falcons. 3 points to the Falcons at home right now.
Until I see something from the Falcons, I still haven't seen anything from the Steelers, so it's kind of going to be a toss-up for me. I like the Falcons at home only because it's season opener. You're going to have a lot of good energy. They got a new quarterback down there. Cousins is a guy who's got some good pedigree. He's got good work ethic. He meshes well with his teams. So that'll be interesting to see. I'd like to see how integrated Pitts is. I hope that they get him more into a receiver role than a blocking tight end role, but we'll see how that works.
He can't be less involved in the offense.
100%. Oh my goodness, he's the most underutilized skill player. It's funny as hell that they use him way too much as a blocking tight end. Like you get this guy out and split out as a receiver and let him.
He is a great blocking tight end. He is a great blocker.
But they use him too much as a blocker. Let him receive. Let him fucking. If that's all you're going to do, yeah, of course he's going to be a great blocking tight end. Let him receive the goddamn ball.
I like the under in this game, 40.5. Do you see a single snap over under 0.5 snaps for future junior in this game?
I'll take the over.
I'm
One snap.
also on that side.
One snap.
I think they sneak him in like a 2-point play or something stupid.
They 2-point play. They could sneak him in on. They could run him on a read option to end like to end the half. Like I feel like they could do something, something interesting. If the circumstance calls for it, I feel like they have some plays that they feel they'll be confident where they can run him in on. They're going to use him probably the same way the Saints use Taysom Hill, right? I don't like it. I don't like it, but it's a guy that they have that they feel like has more skill set and more athletic ability, and they'll have him do some read option shit probably.
They should just go double tight end Fields and Furmuth and just let them run straight.
Hey, that would be hilarious. I'm telling you, I think that they run Fields in 1 or 2 plays as a split out wide receiver. And then they lateral it to him, and then he throws it downfield.
I want to see him and Russ lined up like Wildcat.
Oh, yeah, I like it. They have so much. There's so many options to be able to use Justin Fields and not just have him be a play, just like sitting around. Like he has so much athletic ability. You have to use him. It's just stupid to have that guy sitting on the bench. You can't have a quarterback that has like over 800 rushing yards last season, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had over 800 rushing yards last season. You can't granted he had to run for his life, but you can't have that guy sitting on the bench for the whole season. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like you have to work him into that offensive scheme. Keep the defense guessing.
Yeah, I think we'll know early. I think they'll show their hands on how they're going to handle that.
Tomlin's not necessarily a guy that I see doing a lot of trickery. He just seems like a more down home guy. But I feel like just with the versatility, you got to do it. It's the most athletic quarterback situation he's ever had.
Well, you got to remember
a bunch of
Tomlin doesn't call his plays.
Huh?
Arthur Smith is the OC, the guy that used Kyle Pitts so well.
Oh, great. Here we go again.
All right. Bills. Cardinals, Bills. Bills a 6-point home favorite. What do you think about this Cardinals team?
The only problem that I have here is that a revamped Bills offense I need to see what's going to happen with this revamped Bills offense. The Cardinals, I haven't had any faith in since Kyler Murray came to the team. Actually, before Kyler Murray came to the team. So, I still don't have very much faith in the Cardinals. They should be a mid-tier team this year. We'll see. The Bills have pedigree to be a top-tier team. They just aren't executing, especially in the playoffs. We need to see a good offensive performance from Josh Allen to start off the season. We need to see the team stay healthy. Before we get into the weather situations.
Yeah.
While the weather is nice, play some good football.
I expect the tight ends for both teams to be really heavily involved here. I think that's kind of how the Bills are going to run their offense.
Well, they better protect Josh Allen.
If there's a bet here, it might be Cardinals team total over. Maybe Cardinals to score 24 points or so. I think the Bills win. They probably cover 6, but the Cardinals offense, healthy Kyler Murray. You have all your running backs back, probably only for a week or 2 before they get hurt again. But in theory, at the beginning of the season, everybody's healthy. The healthy Cardinals offense is a good offense.
Healthy Cardinals offense has the pieces to be a good offense. But again, for me, it comes down to execution. And on the last couple of seasons, not players getting also the coaching team has not done. Cliff Kingsbury to do nothing. It really just it hampers your team, and having to work through different systems. It's just I'd like the team. I need to see some execution from the Cardinals before I give them any leeway in this season.
Yeah, excited to see the rookie. I heard he has a NFL pedigree, so we'll see. We'll see how that happens. Harrison could be the difference they need. It's a tough division, and the Cardinals.
Here's the thing.
Are the Cardinals?
Here's the thing. They had Larry Fitzgerald for how many years? That man was one of the most consistent wide receivers you could have in the NFL. Just year after year after year, He was a possession receiver. He wasn't injured. He was great. Did they win anything with him? Absolutely not. When they had him and Anquan Bolden and they had a good offense, did they win anything? No. So I mean,
They won the NFC.
one fucking year on a fluke year. All right, I don't want to hear that.
No. Don't disparage the poor Cardinals fans. They've been through enough.
Look, I'm just calling it like I see it. All right, don't worry. We're all friends with Benedict's here.
Titans, Bears. Bears 4.5-point favorites at home.
I'm taking the Bears. The Titans' offense is not anything to write home to, and the Bears look like they got a good guy behind the good guy under center. They have a stacked receiver core. And their play calls right now look fast and loose, free. They look like and the Titans' defense is trash. So,
have you seen the Will Levis mayonnaise cologne commercial?
His mayonnaise sponsorship. Oh my God, I have seen it, and it is disgusting. It is honestly though, it might quite possibly be the most poorly stereotypical American thing I have ever seen.
My favorite interactions is the Duke's Mail Bowl Twitter account comments on every single Hellman's post, giving Will Levis shit, like just talking him down, saying he's trash. Like it's like mayonnaise on mayonnaise crime, and it's the wildest. Like the fact that this exists in American sports, there's a mayonnaise battle. I'm here for all of it. It's amazing.
And a slight side note, I am not a fan of Twitter X, whatever the app is, for anything else except beefs. I love when organizations beef with each other. It's hilarious. Give me a fast food restaurant. Give me a traffic coordinator for a random city. Give me a random company like a Duke's Mayo. Just going after it. That's funny. Like those are hilarious.
Arby's goes hard, man. They go after.
Oh, Arby's does go. Arby's, Wendy's, like their Twitter accounts are their Twitter X accounts are hilarious. So that's the only reason why I would watch. If going on Twitter to see Duke's Mayo trash Will Levis, who puts, if any of you if you don't know, by the way, Will Levis, quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, has a ambassadorship with Hellman's Mayonnaise, Hellman's Best Foods. If I'm not mistaken, that's the organization, and because he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, he puts mayonnaise on everything. So they literally came up with the mayonnaise cologne. It is and when I joked and said it was the most gross American thing that you could do, mayonnaise is probably the most gross American thing. Like it's just like I like mayonnaise, but to put mayonnaise in coffee.
Hey, a little shameless cross promotion for the channel. Will Levis dating Queen Victoria, Bachelor Nation fame. So his season's going to be ruined. She is a man eater, and I can't imagine the Titans win a whole lot of games as long as she's around.
I couldn't imagine them winning games with her, with or without her being around.
Yeah, give me Bears minus 4.5.
I agree with that one. I agree with that.
Patriots, Bengals 8.5-point favorites. Patriots are going with Jacoby Brissett to start the year.
They're going to go with Brissett because he's been in the system before. I mean, it was obviously a Belichick system when he was in it, but he's been a journeyman. He's come back to the organization. So he's seen, he's the most experienced guy in that backfield. You go with him because that's who you got. I mean, do I believe in any quarterbacks in that backfield either? Absolutely not. I didn't see too much from May. I don't believe in that backfield. So I can understand why you would 100% go with the Bengals in this one. The Bengals have been one of those teams that have been expected to be a perennial powerhouse the past few years since the draft, the post Andy Dalton, the Joe Burrow era. They still got a good receiver core and it's healthy. Burrow's healthy this year. He's got a Slim Shady cut, so he's dialed in apparently. So we're expecting that this is going to be a good Bengals season this year. I don't expect the Patriots to do too much of anything, so I would 100% take the Bengals in this game.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo was never going to start a rookie quarterback week one.
No.
It's just never going to happen. I don't know who the better quarterback is, honestly. I would anticipate we see a lot of both of them this year. As far as
game 6, 7, I feel like if they're still
the bye.
Yeah, when's their bye? Do you know?
I'll look it up. This is the kind of game I'm picking the Bengals. I'm not going to touch the point spread on this.
That's fair.
This just doesn't feel. It does the 8.5 for the Bengals. This feels like
a lot.
Backdoor cover.
It seems like a lot. It's a huge spread, and you don't know at all how the Bengals are going to execute. It really comes down to how well the Bengals execute, or versus. I mean, how many pick sixes happen in this game?
Yeah. They have a week 14 bye.
Oh, that's a late bye.
Yeah, right? So I don't know what happens with this Patriots team, but I'm not picking them to win.
No, I wouldn't either. What did they have? 2 wins last season? 2, 3?
Yeah, I believe it was 2. I mean, yeah. Drake May could be good, but we'll see. We'll see.
If Drake May is anything like Tom Brady, if he's a hair even give me a Matt Castle, then that team will be better off. But they're gonna go with the guy that they've seen before in the system. They're gonna go, so we'll see how that works out. But I could see week 7, week 8. The Patriots, if they're not doing well, if they've got 1 win, then they're switching guys. I can see week 7, week 8. Give the rookie some time.
Gets in like week 8 and is shades of Brady. Right? Matt Castle, I think, is probably a pretty good comp. If he is that guy, Ramondre Stevenson is a top 15 fantasy running back.
I've already had Stevenson as being a top 15 fantasy running back simply because of the how much I expect that you're going to utilize him. They feel confident with him. He's a good guy. He's a two-way back. He's going to get some receptions. He's going to get the rushes. He's going to be there. They're going to lean on him pretty heavily, I think, for this season. So even whether or not Drake May comes in, I feel like Stevenson is still a good pickup in fantasy if you want a guy who is going to be a load bearer for a team, especially a team who does not have anything much going for them on the receiver corner.
AFC South, Texans, Colts. Texans 2.5-point favorite on the road.
I think this game is probably going to be one of the good matchups of the week. It'll be interesting to see a healthy Taylor, a healthy Richardson, and then the Texans picking up Stephon Diggs is going to be that just bolsters that offense, which was already a potent offense. So it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out. You said is it Colts minus 2?
2.5 Texans.
2.5 to the Texans. Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like that's comparable. I think it's solid.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. The total's at 48.5. I kind of like the over. I think we're going to see a ton of offense in this game.
I feel like we'll see some more offense. Texans defense is pretty stout, and I want to see how well Taylor just starts off this season, but Richardson is supposed to be that dual threat quarterback. So, we'll see how that defense can handle those two guys. The receiver core is not terrible. It's not the most exciting, but it's not terrible for the Colts. So it should be a fun game to watch. I think that taking the over isn't an issue. And I think that's a good call. Yeah, I think each team scoring 25 points would be solid.
Yeah, maybe give me like a JTT Richardson anytime touchdown parlay. I think the run game for the Colts should be on full display here.
Fair enough.
Jaguars Dolphins. Dolphins a 3-point home favorite. I'm really excited for this one. This is Tua and Sunshine. That's going to be a fun matchup. That's going to be a fun quarterback matchup to see.
I agree with you on that one. The Tua's offense? He's a slinger, and they're healthy now. It'll be interesting to see how well he gets the ball down the field. The Jaguars defense is one of those defenses that, against an offense like this, a high-powered offense like it'll be interesting to see how well they compare, how well their secondary holds up. if they get down early, like what adjustments they can make. But I like the Jaguars. Both these guys got paid. They're very high. They're very high expectation quarterbacks this season. Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys, one of those guys who has had so much expectations since he came into the league. He was supposed to be the next Tom Brady. They had him up there and with this high pedigree when he was coming out of college. I've seen some flashes of brightness. I've seen some things happening from him. I'm still not convinced that he's made it to that next level. I still don't see him being a guy that's past that first round of the playoffs. But you never know what happens with injuries and with some breakout performances. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes out.
They still need a wide receiver. Obviously, Lawrence is great. ETN is good, but
they paid out.
Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis. That's just not gonna do it for me. I need more. Like you said, I mean, this is a playoff team. I have both these teams in the playoffs, but the Jaguars are not a Super Bowl team, right? I don't think it's crazy to say that. They just don't have the weapons.
No, and more importantly, I think that they have the opportunity, they have the money to be able to go get some weapons. They paid Christian Kirk a lot more money than he was worth.
It's wild,
way more money than he was worth. But the receiver market is now reset. And if they can maybe they make a move in the season. Who's to say? But receiver, I think receiver is something they should have picked up. Dotson.
Yeah, they should have picked up. It was available, man. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Eagles have always got their hands in the cookie jar, though.
True. Give me the Dolphins. Lay the points. I think they win this one, but it should be entertaining. This might be my favorite game on the early slate.
What's the over under?
49.5 right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It should be exciting. Should be a lot of deep throws.
It should be. Oh yeah.
Panthers Saints 4-point favorite at home, which is scary to me as a Saints fan. That feels like too much.
I don't think so. I mean, the Panthers are liable to give you a safety every once in a while. So
God, the Panthers are awful. I don't know that they've gotten any better.
No, they haven't.
And the rookie running back is hurt, so it's the Chuba Hubbard show to start the year. And I like some chubby hubby in my life.
I liked Hubbard. I think that again, it's going to be what we talked about our last show about the fact that they're just going to have another they need to keep a consistent coach in that system. They need to give they need to give the offense some time to mesh. They need to give Bryce Young some time to actually get some good play calls in there. It's an organizational nightmare. It's really an organizational nightmare. So, I mean, I'm not expecting too much from this game. Saints -4. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the total's sitting at 40. I
don't know if we get the 40.
I think I just picked the Saints and not bet this game.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the Saints offensive system. I thought all the quarterbacks looked passable in preseason play. I'm not a huge Carr guy. You're closer to him than I am, but solid quarterback. But he's not going to be the reason the Saints go to the playoffs.
100%. I agree. Their offense is going to have to do a lot more. The defense is going to have to bolster. They can't give up 25 points a game and think that they're going to win anything. Their division isn't the hardest division in football either. They could win out the division. They have I think they have one of the softer divisions.
Yeah, the NFC South has been bad for forever.
It's probably the most. I know that the NFC East has had a different championship every year for the last 12 years, but the NFC South I think is probably the most parodied division. In that every team is probably a 9-8 team.
Yeah, they're all capable of playing top tier football, and they are all capable of playing bottom feeder football. And you see it all. They are all
midi. They are all midi. Each team, if they all went 9-8, I'll be like, yeah, so that sounds about right. Yeah. Also, they could all go 7. Well, hold on. If they went 7 and not all of them, but if they went 7-10, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. If they went 5-12, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. If anybody wins 10 games in that division, I will be overjoyed. And I think Tampa Bay probably has the best chance of doing that.
Yeah, I like them. They look good, but
Yeah.
But again,
Best chance.
is it
Best chance.
nine game good? Like
Probably. So you got to squeak some out sometime.
Vikings Giants. This line's moving all over the place.
Yeah, it
Right
makes
now,
sense.
Vikings -1 ish, juice to hell. So this is essentially a pick 'em.
I mean, with JJ McCarthy going down, the Vikings offense has seen declines over recent years. I mean, obviously you've got Justin Jefferson in there. You had Kirk Cousins, and you had Thielen in there. You had Diggs over the last couple of years. You've had these flashes of Dalvin Cook. You have these flashes of greatness from individual players. But as far as like being a winning team, I mean, other than that season where they won most of the games that they had one score games in, they have not been a team that I've been confident in.
I
And
mean,
I don't see that happening this year.
NFC North is pretty good, but can
Mhm.
you envision a path where this is Sam Darnold's like rejuvenation? This is his comeback tour.
Unless Sam Darnold does what Case Keenum did, no.
I
Case
just
Keenum had to change his entire throwing motion. He had to become a completely different quarterback to have mild success. Sam Darnold is trash.
with
He's,
no question though, this is the best receiver core Darnold's ever had.
I guess that's fair. I mean, any team with Justin Jefferson on is going to be
And
arguably good receiver.
Jordan Addison's a really good wide receiver.
Oh yeah,
So,
100%.
I mean, I have
But
concerns.
did Jordan Addison look better with Cousins throwing to him than his actual like skill sets? 'Cause, I mean,
Maybe.
don't get me wrong. Like they've had there's guy that they've had some good receivers in that core in the last couple of years.
Well, it opens everything up when the other guy's getting double teamed.
100%.
So,
100%.
yeah, fair point. Point made. I kind of like the Vikings in this game. I don't know why. I don't think I can give you a concrete reason. But if it's pick 'em and I have to pick somebody, it's
I
probably
would
the
go.
Vikings.
I'm going to go Giants because the Vikings were expecting JJ McCarthy to be their guy, and now you have to. Now you move to the two. I mean, the New York is a shit show, but at least I don't think that there was really a question as to who was going to be the one in New York. I think the offense was built to come out week one and play, and so I feel like the Vikings are still now they had to reshuffle, they had to do something, they had to revamp, and so I just don't see them being as I mean, as much as the Giants are a turd, I don't see the Vikings being as polished. So -1, I mean, I'll take the Giants at a -1 against the Vikings right now. And there's no weather factor to begin with.
Well, and
So
looking
also,
around, it looks like if you wanted to bet the Giants, you can get them as good as like 1.5 plus. So
yeah.
there's some lines out there. Shop around, as the kids say. All right, here's probably what could be the most telling game of the week. Raiders Chargers. Chargers a 3-point home favorite.
Look, I like what I saw. So I'm a Raiders fan. Shout out Black Hole. And last week I went to Vegas to go to the Raiders open practice. Had a beautiful time there. Allegiant Stadium is a gorgeous stadium. I really enjoyed spending time watching the team. I feel like I like Gardner Minshew over Aiden O'Connell. I just like his energy. I feel like he's a more raw guy. I feel like he'll take some more chances than Aiden. I felt like Aiden was very reserved. I felt like he was just a guy who was more of like. I felt like they're both game managers, but I felt like Aiden O'Connell just didn't have some of the pop and energy that I like to see from my quarterback. So I like Gardner Minshew. I like his attitude here. We'll see how the Chargers do. Obviously, revamped offense. They new head coach, so it will definitely be a very telling game for both sides. AP, for the Raiders, really having a nice full season under his belt, and actually getting a chance to really like work with that offense is going to be great and telling this year. I'm excited about it. I hope that we keep a coach for more than 5 fucking seconds, for the love of God. I hope John Gruden is secretly hiding in a back room somewhere, whispering in AP's ear. But we'll see how the season plays out. Definitely telling. What's the line on? You said Chargers 3.5.
Chargers 3.
All right, I'm taking Raiders. Chargers make bad decisions historically. I'm taking Raiders.
is there a more Martin Riggs lethal weapon quarterback room than this Raiders team? Aiden O'Connell and Minshew look like they're both the renegade cop from a buddy cop film.
You're not wrong. The difference, though, is Gardner Minshew is like that. Like, that's just him. I think Aiden O'Connell has the face. I think, but I don't know if he has the mannerisms. But Gardner Minshew is a wild boy. So I 100% agree with that. They both look like they would be like an 80s buddy cop movie or like a late 70s. I'm gonna go with like a late 70s blaxploitation film.
It's half Colin Farrell's character from the Miami Vice remake and half the Riggs from the Lethal Weapon.
The weapon, yep. Oh my God, Riggs and Murtaugh. Honestly, if Devontae Adams, if they became Riggs and Murtaugh, I would fucking love it. I would love it.
Give me the Raiders money line. Raiders win this one.
Let's go, Raiders.
Broncos, Seahawks, and it is Seahawks minus 5.5. But I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you that there's a new Club 602 shirt coming out. It says, "Bo Elway is my man."
Oh my God.
So I'm going to be wearing that shirt for every Broncos game. Bo Nix, some people are saying he's the second coming of John Elway. I don't know who those people are, but I have heard that.
Those people happen to also call themselves kings.
Yeah, it's just me, I think. People are excited for Bo Nix,
King of Lakemore. I said some people call themselves kings. Some people call themselves the next second coming of John Elway. You know,
I'm excited for Bo Nix. The Seahawks are going to win this game.
Honestly, I'm excited for Bo Nix too. I liked what I saw out of him in college, and as much as I got a chance to watch him, but as this being a divisional team, division rival, I'm not, I never want to wish them the best, obviously. And they've had injuries and they've had some issues in the past. They've had some injury issues. So if they can stay healthy, I think that the Broncos are a better team than they've looked in the last couple years. So they got some youth in there because Russ was a grandpa last season. They lost their running back. They lost their wide receivers. They have talented players in some of their skill positions, and their defense is not a bad defense. At least earlier last season, their defense was one of the better defenses for the first half of the season. They gave up less than 19 points a game, if I'm not mistaken. The problem is that they couldn't score. So when your defense is constantly playing, if they're always on the field, then you always have that opportunity to, for opposing offenses to run up the score and really pound down on your guys. So if their offense can stay on the field, if their team can stay healthy, the Broncos will be a better team than they have been last year. I think the Seahawks still win this game now.
Yeah, Broncos cut all their wide receivers. Watch out for Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims, 1,000-yard receiver this year. Mm-hmm. Give me Geno. Give me the Seahawks. Seahawks minus 5.5.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cowboy. You got something
Cowboys Browns. No. I'm looking at this matchup right now.
Yeah, I know you want to talk some contract stuff here.
Oh my God! So me and Rick had a nice little discussion about how if you're a skill position player, don't whine about getting paid $18 million a year. And I had, I'm speaking on behalf of the labor, on the behalf of the player, and Rick went with the organizational approach and how you should just shut up and play football. Well, the money talks and bullshit walks. And CeeDee Lamb, 4-year, $136 million extension. I believe $38 million guaranteed in the contract, making him the second highest paid wide receiver. Had a phenomenal season last year. I think statistically he is a guy that you're really, really going to look out for this year. I think Dak's going to continue to throw him the ball. The things that I don't believe in is the Cowboys winning anything ever. I got the Browns in this game. I will always bet against the Cowboys unless they're playing the Panthers. they probably will beat the Panthers. They'll probably beat the Patriots. They'll beat those lower tier teams. But when it comes down to it, they don't execute. What, 2 playoff wins in the past 15, 20 years? 2 franchise quarterbacks who, when it came down to it, just have not been guys who executed at the next level. So I got the Cowboys have so much money to throw at these players, and they have so much skill at certain positions. Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. They've got so many good players on offense and defense, and they still can't get it together.
The bland injury is a big one. The first half of their schedule is kind of soft. If he can make it back, they should be okay. Obviously, you never want to lose what is probably your best player in the back seven on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Cowboys in this game. I sat down and looked at this and went back and forth a little bit. I like Cowboys to win, but I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's more of an indictment of the Browns' offense than anything. Because I'm with you. I'm with you on the boys. I don't think they execute. I think CeeDee Lamb is now in a position where if he is not wide receiver 1 at the end of the year, it looks really, really bad for the organization. But I don't think the Browns are that team. So give me the Cowboys in this one. I'm willing to be wrong here. Certainly won't touch it in Survivor or anything, but I think the Cowboys win this game.
The Cowboys, I would rather see the Browns win, even though they got an assaulter at quarterback. It's probably going to be the second most dynamic quarterback matchup, I think, this week. Well, no, I take it back. Probably third. I'd say the Ravens Chiefs is going to be number 1. I like Trevor.
Oh, Knicks.
I like Trevor Lawrence, and I like Tua, but I feel like they get paid a lot of money to not really be, I think that this might be one of the better quarterback matchups. We'll see. If the Myles Garrett, how do you feel about Myles Garrett 1.5 sacks?
I actually really like that. If I find a prop somewhere, that'd probably be way plus money. That would probably be good. I'll take the under. But I mean, he's going to get a sack.
Yeah, he's going to get at least 1 sack. In the past, I would say 5 to 10 years, the Cowboys have had one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. They've had a couple seasons with some really good running back seasons, running back by committee seasons. They've had one of the better offensive lines realistically. The problem that I have is that Dak Prescott can put up 350, 400 passing yards, or he can throw 4 interceptions. So some days you never really know what's going to happen. And I think if the Browns have a good line, they can get pressure on Dak. They can make him uncomfortable, force him out of the pocket. Which he is still a quarterback who's mobile. He still can get the ball out. So we'll see how well the Browns secondary can handle. Can handle CD and some of those other guys when they've after 3, 4, 5 seconds. But it'll be an interesting game. I think it'll be a good game, a fun game to watch.
Yeah, watch out for Turpin. Turpin, a great route runner. He could see some action with CD commanding some attention.
Getting doubled. Yeah.
Commanders, Buccaneers. Bucks a 3.5 point favorite. I like the Bucks here. I don't have a whole lot of notes here. Put Baker Mayfield straight in my veins. Dark horse MVP candidate.
Look, I can't have Baker Mayfield as a dark horse anything. All right. The man, first of all, Heisman winner. So anybody, Oklahoma, OU, look, I'm going to say right now, I'll be excited to see how well Jaden Daniels plays. It'll be a good opening matchup for that team because even though the Bucks are technically a playoff caliber team, they're on that lower end of the playoff caliber teams. So they're like a good mid-tier team, I would say. They didn't do anything flashy in the offseason, and their division is still trash. So I feel like they are gonna probably be a 8-9 win team. They'll probably end up winning that division. But Washington has getting rid of your best wide receiver, or or second best wide receiver is probably that's going to really bite you in the ass. I think it's going to really bite you in the ass. We'll see how well the offense can execute with Jaden Daniels in that system. So it'll be interesting. He's got incredible athleticism. I think that he's smarter than RG3 was in that system, and I think he's athletic. He's got similar athleticism. I think RG3 just didn't have the build. He was just so skinny. Daniels has probably a little more meat on his bones than RG3. We'll see how well they take hits because really getting out once I don't think that the Washington's offensive line is anything to sneeze at, but they're not a very great offensive line. But Daniels getting out of the pocket and getting hit on the move, we'll see how that works out. Is he going to be one of those guys? Is he going to do well sliding? Is he going to take some hits? I think that that's going to be more telling for how Washington's offense will operate.
Yeah, and really good defensive fronts in that division, obviously. So there'll be something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Rams Lions 3.5-point favorite. I always like these ones just because of the
QB swap.
Right? Yeah, these teams will always be tied together in my head for that. The Rams going and winning a Super Bowl with the guy who could never win, right? And then Goff winning with the Lions is just super intriguing to me. So these games are always interesting. The Rams are a long way from that Super Bowl.
Oh, and with Aaron Donald retiring, you just lost literally one of the best to ever do it on the D line. So that changes a lot. They also have injury with Nakua, if I'm not mistaken. It was Puka Nakua, and they're getting back Cooper Kupp though. So we'll see how well that offense can execute. The Lions, they look like their offense should be better than last year. And again, I need to see some execution from them. They're a team with a huge upside potential. They should win their division again this year. But we'll see again when it's early on in the season. We'll see how well they can execute.
Nakua back to practice. He'll be ready to go week 1.
All right. Well, I picked up Cooper Kupp in my fantasy league because I felt like he's Stafford's number one guy. But Nakua was such a good receiver in that system last year that I feel like he could have a very good season as well. Those two, as your 1 and 2, are going to be really good to watch for LA. You're happy about having them back.
Yeah, give me the Lions here outright. I'm not sure about 3.5, but I do like over 51 points.
Yeah, I can see that. Stafford's going to sling. He's going to sling. Goff's going to sling. So it'll be interesting. And I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was an underrated receiver last year. He just came out and he played good football. And they picked up their backfield did some shuffling this year over last year, but I feel like it's still just as potent. So we'll see how well the Lions do this year.
All right. Monday Night Football. Jets Niners 3.5-point favorite.
Niners 3.5-point favorite. Realistically, this might be a game that has the two. I think this game might be the best defensive game matchup. I think a healthy Jets defense. The Jets are such a team that has so many weapons. They can never stay healthy. Nobody. They have so many weapons. You've got their running backs are very good running backs. Breece Hall, I feel like he could be a Pro Bowl running back this year, especially in a division. He could definitely be a Pro Bowl running back. Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, those two guys on the opposite sides of the ball, they just had a phenomenal season last year, even without their Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, and he's coming back. Rodgers is coming back, so I feel like it's going to be solid for them. Honestly, Ayuk getting paid. So if you didn't know, Brandon Ayuk held off for contract. CeeDee Lamb gets paid, and then Ayuk comes in and gets paid after that. I believe his was 4 years, $81 million, if I'm not mistaken. So they got him. He got his bag. He better get back in that system. They have, in my opinion, the most dynamic offense. Without CMC to start the season off, I still think that they have the offensive edge because I need to see execution.
He's going to play. He's back to practice.
He's back? Okay, good. Okay. Well, that's good for them.
Incredible talent on that team. Purdy at his worst is the best game manager in the league. And Purdy at his best is a dynamic threat to throw. I really, really like the 49ers this year. Jets win this game.
Mm,
Jets win this game. I
okay.
got the Jets here.
What's the line on it? You said it's three and a
Yeah,
half.
three and a half. Money line's 172 for the Jets right now. So excited to watch this one. It's a great way to end week one. A little Monday
Yeah.
nightcap.
Good Monday Night Football. I
This
think
will
I
be a
think
fun one.
this week, as far as matchups go, I love the Thursday night matchup. I love the Friday night matchup. I love the Monday night matchup, and I like the Sunday night matchup a lot.
Yeah.
I think that they did a good job of scheduling this week. I do like I feel like this is a great way to open up the season. There's some really good games. It'll be some great football. So excited.
So we went long, like we're known to do, but I do want to get some superlatives from you before we bounce. So let's do
Oh
Super
yeah.
Bowl winner, MVP, and give me rookie of the year, offense or defense, your choice.
Super Bowl winner. I'm going with the Chiefs again until I see something different. They like if you somebody show me how to beat Andy Reid, because even in without the weapons in Philadelphia, he was a great coach. And now that he's got the weapons, and just constantly bringing in these random receivers to be able to rotate in, and Patrick Mahomes is doing what he does. One of the things that really made me laugh was when they talked about, I believe they had Tyreek Hill listed as like the number one player in the NFL, and then I laughed at it and I was like, Tyreek Hill, while he might be a very dynamic wide receiver, is just that. Whereas Patrick Mahomes orchestrates a Super Bowl caliber offense from any receiver. It doesn't matter who it is. You look at it statistically, and he was a better quarterback after Tyreek Hill won 2 Super Bowls. So it's not like he needed Tyreek Hill. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs right now as my Super Bowl winners. Who you got?
Man, it's hard not to pick the Chiefs. The pedigree's there. The weak division, like we kind of discussed. As
Yeah.
much as I want to fade them, I don't know that I can. For sake of you and me arguing and having something different, give me the
Mhm.
Lions.
That's fair.
I don't
I'll take
think
it.
they're better than the Chiefs, but played hard. I could see the Lions doing so. I'll take the Lions as my official pick, but I think that the Chiefs are probably
Chiefs are
the
probably
best
good.
team in the NFL.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
MVP. Give me a 5,000-yard passing season and an MVP for Tua.
You know what? I can see that happening. Depends on how well their running game works to be able to keep that offense open and let him keep slinging the ball. Uh, I still don't have the most confidence into staying healthy. I know last season he was good. The concussion still kind of scare me a little bit. It takes one wrong hit for that guy, and suddenly, yeah. So, but I can see that happen. I'm gonna go with same thing, 5,000 passing yard season, but I'm not going to go with Tua. I'm going to take. I'm probably going to take Purdy. Enough. Maybe 4,500.
I was going to say, if
I feel
Purdy
like
throws for 5,000, he is the MVP, no question. Like he'd be
yeah,
unanimous.
yeah. I could see 4,500. Realistically, it's Mahomes to lose. But I think having a full year under your system, and and still having your offensive weapons in San Fran is just going to be, it should be cookies for him.
Yeah, if the Jets win 10 games, Rodgers will win comeback and MVP. But I
Fair
don't
enough.
know. I don't know if they get there. Who you got for rookie of the year?
Rookie of the year, interesting. I hope that it's my tight end, but it's not going to be. I would love for it to be my guy Brock Bowers. The Raiders have used tight ends pretty well in recent years, but I'd like to see. I think that they could use him pretty. They could lean on him a little bit more. You know, you could always hope that one of these quarterbacks is going to be your rookie of the year. Could be Bo Nix. He's going to have a. I think he's going to have a good season if he stays healthy out there. Again, weak division. You lose one game at least against the Chiefs. You lose one game at least to the. I think they lose one game to the Chargers probably later in the season. I think they lose at least one game to the Chiefs. I think they might be able to sneak one out at home against the Chiefs. I think that they could potentially beat the Raiders twice. So it depends on how well they do in that division.
Yeah,
Could see it being Bo Nix though.
some people are saying Super Bowl or bust. I don't know who, but some
You.
people. Some people.
Bo Elway. Jeez. All right. Defensive rookie of the year. Who you got?
Jared Verse. Jared Verse, who is going to be playing in a very important position on a Rams team with a lot of changes on defense. He'll be kind of playing that stand-up defensive end, Florida State guy. This guy is a monster. If the season for the Rams goes kind of the way I'm expecting, he is going to have to play a role for them to be in the mix. And
Oh, 100%.
Jared Verse's athleticism, I think it's his to lose. Doesn't necessarily mean he's the best player, but he is a freak athlete. And I think defensive player of the year is his to lose. Defensive rookie of the year. Excuse me. He will not be DPY, but defensive rookie of the year.
No, rookie? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I like Turner out of Alabama for Vikings. I think that they're going to need some edge rushing, and he was a good pickup. Good high pedigree guy. So I feel like he could have a standout season. I feel like he could give us a Will Anderson type of season and give me that rookie of the year.
Yeah. And then give me Malik Neighbors on offense. I think the Giants' offense is going to have to run through him if they have any hope of winning any games. Freak athlete, great route runner.
I'm gonna retract my offensive guy, and I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that they're gonna rely heavily on him for the Cardinals, and I think that he's got the pedigree, he's got the skill set to put up a 1,000-yard season. I mean, right. if he has a season anywhere like what Garrett Wilson had, he'll be offensive player of the year. Yeah. I think Kyler Murray has a better chance of getting Marvin Harrison Jr. to rookie of the year than anybody in New York has of getting Malik Neighbors to rookie of the year.
When does Call of Duty come out?
I don't know. I don't have it tracked. I don't play it.
Give me whatever that week is. Fade the Cardinals.
Black Ops 6.
Yo. Hey, man, we did it. Hour 12. So short episode for us. So sorry for cutting the show short, guys.
No, not at all. Well, I will say this. This is the first time we didn't do a full recap of every game from the previous slate. We just went straight into this week. I like the way that goes. We don't need to recap every game. I think we could just touch on what happened in the previous week and really get into the next week. Unless something like crazy happens.
As you talk about the next big.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it.
All right, there's chimes going off in my ears here, but hey, yelling and screaming. NFL Week 1. We'll get you guys like a schedule, like an actual time schedule. We're gonna try to film like Tuesdays, get episodes out on Wednesdays. You might see some shorts from us, but I think this format is going to be the primary, and we'll go from there. Maybe we'll get some watch parties and stuff going.
Hell yeah, that'll be a good time.
So. All right, man. Hey, good to see you. And week one's here. We're done.
Week one's here. We're ready, baby. We're ready. This has been a fun little project to kind of get us set up and figure out, what flows. And I really enjoy the format. I think we figured out more of a niche. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a fun season. I hope that you guys stick with us. You decide to, stick around and watch some of these videos and kind of just give us some feedback. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. I mean, we're here to entertain you. But more importantly, I want to hear from you guys as well. I'm Sean at KS Flash on all socials.
King Lakemore.
All right, and this is Yelling and Screaming.
Check it out, baby. Hey, Super Bowl or bust.
Super Bowl or bust.